Lords of the Fallen 2 has gotten its much anticipated announcement trailer. As a huge fan of Lords of the Fallen 2023, I wanted to take a look at both the trailer and what supplementary info we got on the game. Starting with the trailer, as it begins, the narrator informs us that the gods have abandoned us due to the coming darkness, followed by what looks like a corpse in what appears to be a battlefield of fallen hallowed sentinels being chosen by some kind of monster. We then pan to our first look at the new Dark Crusader, who looks absolutely sick, I shall say, and him and some woman seems to be overlooking what appears to be this building we see in Lords 2023, but it looks as if it was taken over by some big sunflower. Next, our Crusader experiences some kind of pain as the narrator tells of an ancient, powerful and hungry power within him, during which we get some bits of the Crusader in action, and this interesting shot of the corpse from earlier, which I can only assume they and Crusader are one and the same. After this, we get a shot of this new character who asks us to harness the darkness and deliver unto the so-called Lord's retribution. I'll dive more into what this could mean later on. We then pan up to see the same tower from earlier, but only there is now what appears to be a floating city just above it. Then we get this shot of this angel throwing down a blade onto a bridge and breaking it with what looks like radiant magic. It bears mentioning of the similarity between this shot and the fight against another angelic character on a bridge, that being Pietà. We then see another good shot of our Crusader and some architecture and tapestries that seem to indicate that we're no longer within Mornstead. After this, we get a cool shot before the Crusader gets leg-locked by Big Angel Lady. Finally, the narrator claims if we fall, the world falls with us as the Crusader is killed, and we hear a similar sound effect as the umbral transition in Lords 2023. The final shot is the Crusader looking out on the tower in what appears to be an even more hellish depiction of the umbral realm. That does it for the trailer, but we also got some info about the game from the website and the game on the PlayStation Store. The description on the store states that the game takes place centuries after the last title. It also says that the umbral darkness has spread and consumed all but one last kingdom within Axiom, a kingdom that was stolen by the gods themselves. Now there's the information on the website, which is mostly treading a lot of the same ground. However, there is a big emphasis on blood in several pages. This could mean blood will play a large part within the game, but that's just a toss-up. Now let's try to examine the trailer and see what we can pull from it, starting with the corpse in the beginning. Upon closer inspection, this area seems to be centered around some kind of hole or drain. This could mean these corpses were sacrifices, or perhaps these are the remains of hallowed sentinels that fell to some kind of rogue ritual. In the background, we see the hallowed sentinel's crucifix, but it is designed differently from those we see in Lords 2023. It's more ornate, it seems. This could mean that either the hallowed sentinels are no more, or that the Church of Orion Radiance had taken control and altered its design. Then we see the Crusader and the woman overlooking the tower. Interestingly enough, the staff she is holding seems to have a lot of similarities to other radiant-based weapons. Next is this part when the Crusader is in pain, and we see this brief shot of a hooded figure. This is clearly the same as the tentacle monster we see in the opening, as they have the same hand design. At first I thought this could be Molhu, but that can't be the case, as I will discuss shortly. Now this part we're introduced to this character, who seems he may play a role similar to the Iron Wayfarer. When we see a close-up of his face, his eye seems to have some kind of infection growing out of it. This could be evidence of some kind of umbral affliction. He then says to deliver unto the so-called Lord's retribution. This is a tad confusing, as when they refer to lords in these games, they typically are meaning servants to the gods, not the gods themselves. But the store descriptions state that the city pictured was stolen by the gods. So maybe this could mean that Aureus himself had his own set of lords similar to a deer, and they have stowed themselves away inside this floating city. Next, I want to talk about this crest we see here. It's in the shape of a crescent moon, which is also found on this enemy's head here. Now in Lords 23, the moon became a giant eyeball when in Umbral. So this kingdom may be, or at one point was, a Umbral worshipping civilization similar to the No Huda or the exiles within Forsaken Fen. Though take this with a grain of salt. Now finally, let's talk about the final shot, which shows us within Umbral and what my hypothesis of the story could be. The moon behind the tower in Umbral is the Putrid Mother. It's a little hard to see in the shot, but it's much clearer in the promotional art. It's her. So this, to me at least, means that the Umbral ending is the canon ending to Lords 23, and spoilers ahead, This is why that hooded figure from the opening can't be Molhu, as he is required to die for the umbral ending to take place. So this could mean that after Adir was either sealed away forever or devoured by the putrid mother, Aureus attempted to enact his judgment upon Axiom only to then clash directly with the putrid mother for control. But as powerful as Aureus is, he pales in comparison to the putrid mother's hunger. So over several centuries, the two gods have waged a one-sided war, with Aureus appointing mortals he sees as worthy as his lords to fight the umbral spread, which then he and his lords have retreated to this faraway kingdom as Mornstead withered away and have made it their final stand, stealing a piece of the city in an attempt to escape the putrid mother's ravenous embrace. So that's everything I have for now. I'm a huge fan of these games, so I'll keep a close eye out for more information I could share. Do you think my theory is right? Or am I just crazy? Did I miss anything? Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Later, Tater.
Lords of the Fallen 2. Wishlist now.